Hello fellow YouTubers, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. On the last episode, we started the trial of the DL6 incident, the 15-year trial, because Edgeworth decided to declare that himself guilty of that trial, of that incident, so we had to have a quick trial since today is the end of the statute of limitations. And Phoenix is defending him, and Von Karma is going against him, and we've run into a very big dead end because we thought there were 2 bullets fired, but there's no evidence to back that up. So, we now have 2 options, no objections or I have an objection. If we pick no objections, the case is done, and Edgeworth is going to be found guilty. If I have an objection, I better find some evidence quick that helps me explain why I stopped the timer. Why did I do that? Helps me explain why Edgeworth is not guilty. So, Your Honor, I object.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. Mr. Wright, on what grounds do you object?
Oof. Nick? I don't know. His case is perfect. He's had 15 years. Oh no. Ah! It must exist. The second bullet. What? What did you just say? Nothing. The second bullet must exist. But where? Someone took it. It seems waiting is not going to produce us any answers to Mr. Wright. Wait, Your Honor. The second bullet. It exists. What? But we've just heard proof that it did not exist. How is that proof? I realize that, Your Honor. I'm really grasping here. It's just someone took it from the scene of the crime. That's what happened. But who? The murderer.
The murderer? Then tell us, just who is this murderer?
I'm still thinking about that one. So, the criminal took the second bullet. Why would he? Huh? First of all, how would he have found it? It's not easy to find a stray bullet, Mr. Wright. Was there some pressing need for the murderer to search for that bullet? The murderer had to find it, or the murderer didn't need it. Well, why would the murderer have to find it? I mean, you could probably not, you would not be able to prove that it was the murderer even it. But the murderer didn't need it, that made no sense either, because why would the murderer not need it but still take it? So, let's pick the correct answer. Why would the murderer have spent the time to look for that stray bullet? I haven't got a clue. What's wrong, Mr. Wright?
Bah! The murderer had no reason to take that bullet. You don't want to admit it, but it's true.
Urk. Had to take it. Had to take it? The murderer? What does that mean? You're thinking too normal. Think crazy. Don't think why the bullet was taken. Think why the bullet had to be taken. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. I have no idea what I'm doing. Well, the murderer had no intention of taking the bullet from the scene. But the murderer had to take that bullet. Had to, Mr. Wright. What do you mean? Well, for instance... for instance, what? Maybe the bullet, hit the murderer? The bullet hit the murderer? Just saying, for instance. I mean, if it hit you, you wouldn't have to take it with you, wouldn't you? It's not like you could perform surgery right there. You know? Wait a second. I'm just talking off the top of my head, but what if that's really what happened? Let me get this straight. So, at the time of the murderer himself was shot? And he left with the second bullet still inside, thus leaving only one bullet at the scene of the crime. Yes. I guess that's how it would work, yes. But there's a problem with that. The other two people rescued from that elevator, Miles Edgeworth and Yana Yogi, were both unharmed. So, that would mean the murderer came from outside, yes. The two men fight inside the elevator. Trying to stop them, the boy picks up the pistol at his feet and throws it. The pistol discharges, and the bullet. The bullet goes through the elevator door and hits the murderer outside. The boy loses consciousness. Then the murderer opens the elevator door and sees the men inside. Mr. Wright, you are truly the most unpredictable defense attorney I've ever known. I can tell you're grasping, yet I cannot deny the possibility of what you say.
What are you saying? Deny it! Deny it! No one involved with the incident was wounded. There was no murderer.
No one was wounded at the time of the incident. He's right. I can't think of anyone. Hey, Nick. Huh? I just thought of something really crazy. Crazy? I mean, it's not like that's not normal at this moment. Remember what Mr. Grossberg said yesterday? Gregory Edgeworth dealt a blow to his perfect trial record. Well, it must have been quite a shock for him, Karma. He took a vacation for several months after that, you see. Yes, an unusual event for the man. That was the first and the last vacation he's taken in his many years of prosecuting. What if Karma didn't take that vacation because of shock? But took it because he was injured. Which would mean... It could only mean one thing. He was the murderer in the Deal 6 incident. He was the man who shot Gregory Edgeworth. It was Von Karma! Oh, man. Something wrong, Mr. Wright. You seem dazed. No, Your Honor. Well, you have indicated the possibility that the murderer came from outside. Can you give us the name of your suspect? Uh-oh. Should I come out and say it now? Save it now or save it for a better time? There won't be a better time. It'll get worse after this, so... Your Honor, there is a suspect. One lone suspect. Well, this is certainly interesting news. Very well, Mr. Wright. Who is your suspect? My hands are shaking. What? Von Karma.
Von Karma?
Of course, he's smiling just creepily. You mean the Von Karma? The prosecutor? Sitting right there.
Bah.
You don't object?
I see no need. Why honor this ridiculous outburst with my objection?
Because you took a vacation for several months starting the day after the incident. Yet you pride yourself on a perfect record. Which Phoenix broke! Woo! Why would you take such a long vacation without any reason?
So you're claiming that I took a vacation to heal my injury from the incident? Fascinating. Prove it. I would have needed surgery, no. Where did I go on the knife at, Mr. Wright? Bring the doctor that operated on me. Have him testify.
Erg. Nick! Let's find out who his doctor is!
It's no use.
Edgeworth?
I know Von Karma, perhaps too well. He's perfect. He wouldn't leave clues. He probably didn't undergo surgery. That would leave a doctor as a witness.
Nobody's that perfect. So what, Nick? Did Von Karma pull the bullet out by himself? That's insane! No, he couldn't have. You can't just pull bullets out of yourself. Wait. What does that mean? That bullet has to be somewhere, but where?
Tisk, tisk, tisk. Well, Mr. Wright, can you produce evidence to prove I was shot?
It's impossible to prove or show evidence. Well, if everything taken away must be false, everything left should be the correct answer. Or however that's supposed to be phrased, I forget. Let's show evidence. All right, Von Karma, I'll prove it. And I'll even use evidence. I know how you like it so much.
What?
The evidence that proves Von Karma was shot is, and you're never gonna believe this, but it's the metal detector we borrowed from Gumshoe. Von Karma is perfect. He wouldn't risk surgery, leaving an evidence trail. So then, I ask, where is that bullet now? I think it's unlikely that Von Karma performed surgery on himself. You don't mean. I do. There's the possibility that the bullet is still inside Von Karma. Is that even possible for all these years? Well, there's one way to find out. We could use this metal detector that I just had in my pocket all this time. Well, Von Karma, I'm going to run this over you and see what we find. Although it not work for me anymore, I have a metal plate in my wrist. Which means I can't go through airport security normally anymore. Stupid broken wrist.
I refuse.
You refuse? But refusing this means you acknowledge that the bullet is still inside you. Order! 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 Your Honor, the defense requests that we be allowed to use that metal detector.
Judge, I call for a suspension of this trial. This is an invasion of privacy.
The statute of limitations runs out on this case today. It was you who said we had to end it right here, right now. Enough! I permit the use of the metal detector. Mr. Von Karma, you will submit yourself to testing. Nick, what does this mean? I don't know, but we have to give it a shot. It reacted. Something's inside his right shoulder. The bullet. Mr. Von Karma?
You. It was you. I was afraid this would happen. And so I remained silent. Indeed, there is a bullet in my shoulder. However, it has nothing to do with this incident.
What?
I was shot in the shoulder long before the DL6 incident.
And you've never taken it out, why?
I claim that the bullet in my shoulder has no relation to DL6.
But, Mr. Von Karma, can you prove that?
Prove? I have no obligation to prove anything. It is you who must prove something here, Mr. Wright. Not I.
Mr. Wright? I made a weird judge noise there. Well, can you prove it? Can you prove that the bullet in Von Karma's shoulder was from DL6?
Of course he can't. You don't have any of the DL6 evidence.
That's because you took it out of the records room yesterday.
With no proof, you cannot convict me of any crime. So sorry, Mr. Wright.
No, I'm the one who's sorry, Mr. Von Karma.
What?
You were close, 1 day away from freedom. You see, I have proof.
What?
Who would have thought you would have dug your own grave trying to convict Edgeworth? I can link that bullet in your shoulder to the DL6 incident. And here's my final proof. One more thing that we have to provide. And this is the bullet that was found in Robert Hammond's body. And we know that there was a bullet taken out of his heart. And there's a bullet in Von Karma's shoulder. And here's the bullet that was pulled out of Edgeworth's heart, still bears clear ballistic markings. That's a bullet.
Where did you get that?
This is the bullet used in the DL6 incident. This was taken from the heart of the victim, Mr. Gregory Edgeworth. The bullet here is preserved quite nicely, with all the ballistic markings intact.
Ballistic markings?
You may recall the term. It came up in the first trial 2 days ago. Ballistic markings are the fingerprints of a weapon. All bullets fired from a gun are marked with that weapon's unique pattern. By examining the markings, you can tell which weapon fired the bullet. It's quite accurate. We have 2 bullets in our possession. One, the bullet removed from Gregory Edgeworth's heart. The other, Mr. Von Karma, is the bullet buried in your shoulder. We can analyze both bullets. Then, if the markings matched, we would know that both bullets had been fired from the same gun. The very same pistol. In other words, the murder weapon that killed Gregory Edgeworth. Mr. Von Karma, you will let us remove that bullet from your shoulder. Then we'll compare the ballistic markings to those on this bullet. And solve this case once and for all. Well, Mr. Von Karma?
Nah.
Ow, my throat. I'm not doing the rest of this. Are you kidding me?
That scream. I've heard that scream before. Wait. I know.
Help! I can't breathe!
Quiet. I said quiet. You're not making this any easier.
Stop breathing my air! I'll stop you! Stop breathing my air! Get away! Get away from my father!
Nah! It's that scream I heard in the elevator. 15 years ago. Von Karma, it was you who screamed.
Mr. Von Karma!
Whoa, Edgeworth! Edgeworth! Only you would dare defy me. So, it was you. You and your father are my curse. Your father shamed me with a penalty on my record. And you left a scar on my shoulder that would never fade. I'll bury you. I'll bury you with my bare hands. Death, death. Mr. Chief Prosecutor, I am sorry.
Von Karma, it's not like you to make this kind of error. I never would have thought that Edgeworth would be the one to catch you.
I was careless.
I'm sorry, but you will have to be penalized. I've covered for you in the past, but not this time.
Edgeworth! It was a shock like none I'd ever known. Me, penalized? It took hours for me to regain my composure. Suddenly, I found myself in the darkness. I was in the court records room. I must have wandered in there without thinking where I was going. The room was pitch black. The lights must have gone out. I went out in the hall and felt my way to the elevator. I pressed the button and nothing happened. Then, there was a noise. I was in pain, a horrible burning pain in my shoulder. Just then, the lights came back on. The elevator door opened before my eyes. I saw 3 people inside, all lying unconscious from oxygen deprivation. Much to my surprise, a pistol lay at my feet. I knew then it was destiny. In his last moments, Gregory Edgeworth was still unconscious. He died, never knowing who had shot him. Later, he spoke through a medium blaming Mr. Yogi. He was fooled. It was the perfect crime. Who would have thought another man would have come to open that elevator door? Judge!
What?
What are you doing? Do your job. Bring an end to this miserable charade.
Of course, Karma's gonna say it the fancy way. Bro, where's my champagne? I haven't gotten it yet.
Now, end it.
Very well. It appears that we have come to a very long way to the end of this maze. 15 years later. Mr. Miles Edgeworth? Oh god, what happened to Judge's voice? My throat is dead!
Yes, Your Honor.
You are innocent. You are innocent. As you've said, it was all a nightmare.
Yes, Your Honor.
This This court finds the defendant, Mr. Miles Edgeworth. That is all. The court is adjourned. All right, well, oh god, this episode was even longer than the last one. Well, that's fine. We're going to call it an episode here, because, well, we have a little bit more left before we actually finish off this episode, or before we finish off this case. So, I mean, we just solved two court cases, one 15 years in the making. I think it's about time we call it an episode. My throat is killing me. I don't think we have enough. So, on the next episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, we are going to be finishing off Case 4 and seeing what the future brings us. So, until next time, hopefully you enjoy.